on. Pete's giving me the thumbs up. Good morning. Welcome to Pinhole Quilting, to our Pershore showroom. For those of you who haven't joined us before, welcome. And if you've seen our Pinhole Quilting Facebook Live before, congratulations, you're watching it again. Fantastic. Welcome back. Thank you for watching either on our live, traditionally 10 minutes late. We just like to give you a little bit more time to get your coffee, your biscuits, whatever else you need in order to settle down and enjoy a little bit of long arm chat. It also gives us a little bit more time to iron the binding. I've been ironing binding. I've been no shirts, just binding this morning. So welcome to our showroom. We've been really busy this week. When are we not busy, right? So last night was our gala dinner, the end of 4 days of our ambassador event with Lynda Jackson. Pete is behind the camera. He's looking forward to getting a haircut later. So we won't swap it round, will we, Pete? No.
No, wild man of
Pershore. Not wild man of Naunton Beecham. Anyway, this is our Amara, and we'll be doing a live demonstration in a little bit, but I thought we'd just have a little sum up of what we've been doing this week and welcome some of the people who are watching. So Pete, who have we got?
Well, the Greys were first, Lorraine Gray.
Oh, Lorraine.
Northern Ireland.
Fantastic.
Hazel Gray in Scotland.
Oh gosh, the Greys. Lorraine and Hazel.
And
Scotland and Northern Ireland.
Joe Moore. Joe, your machine will be serviced and up and running this week.
Yeah, great.
Who else? We've got Claire Shortland. Morning, Claire.
Good morning, Claire. And thanks for being the first customer to use the new digital gift voucher, which is now available.
Val Brooks. Not first this morning, Val.
Oh, Val. Val, we lulled you into a full sense of security by being 12 minutes late. Sorry about that.
Carol Bealey.
Hello, Carol.
Michaela in Germany. Michaela, has your parcel turned up?
We did see... Oh, we did. Yes. Lynda showed me some of your work. Fantastic. Fantastic.
And Ada Greer, I think, is online. Anne Colburn in Ireland. So we've
Hi, Ada. You're doing some lovely work. I'm really glad that it's working out for you.
Binding Carolyn is online as well.
What's that?
Binding Carolyn.
Binding Carolyn. Yes. And Carolyn, I'm looking forward to... Carolyn is my binding fairy. And Carolyn was up here the week before last helping on the Quilts for Care Leavers. And we had a hilarious chat on the day that she left about the Farrow and Ball shade card. You know, we always love, don't we, the Farrow and Ball shade card for its string, putty, dead salmon, elephant breath, all those things. And we all have our friends who've used all of those different colours, haven't we? Pete, I think you used dead salmon, didn't you? And I thought you'd just use undercoat. Anyway, I've offended Pete in the past as well as other friends. But I have this friend, Jenny. She's the person up in Scotland whose mother was a Morningside lady. Anyway, Jenny is a real sort of foot and mouth extract person from time to time. And she went down to our friends in Fulham who just moved into their beautiful house in Fulham. You know, she's Chelsea Harbour Club. Dear Anne is Chelsea Harbour Club member. Anyway, house in Fulham, lovely, beautiful. Moved in. And Jenny walked in and said, "Oh, Anne, it's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. It's going to be great when you've decorated." And Anne, crestfallen, said, "But Jenny, I've done string on that wall and putty on that wall. Elephant's breath over there. What are you talking about?" So anyway, we had... Jenny's never forgotten it, neither's Anne, of course. Anyway, Carolyn has the alternative Farrow and Ball shade card, and I can't wait to get it. It has things like dictatorship green and, oh gosh, there's some fantastic ones, which is a sort of greeny kind of, I don't know. Anyway, they're very funny, and thank you very much, Carolyn, for purchasing 2 of those. I shall look forward to getting that and sharing it with my Fulham friends. Now, we're going to be doing square feet. We've got a deal that we'll tell you about later. A deal for our Handi Quilter customers who've got our beautiful Handi Quilter machines. We've got a deal on the square foot. If you haven't got one so far, you'll understand how we can do binding on the frame because I'm going to demo it. And the ladies who came to the Quilts for Care leavers, nobody knew they could do the binding on the machine. But by the time they'd left, they had all been binding the Quilts for Care leavers quilts on the frame. So this is a very useful technique. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention was what a fantastic week we had with Lynda Jackson on the Ambassador event. 10 quilters, long arm quilters, all stand up we had here in our showroom.
We've got a couple of them online already this morning. Have we? Jackie's managed to just get home in time.
No way!
For Facebook
Hi,
Live.
Jackie.
And
fantastic.
Elaine.
Jackie was on the Avanti just here. And
Elaine was a hoot.
Oh, Elaine, hi.
I hope I didn't make too much fun of you last night, Elaine, at the gala dinner.
Oh my word.
But
Elaine,
it was a laugh.
We want to know what those South Africans have done with your apparel. Anyway, we won't mention what apparel that might be. It's between what happens on tour stays on tour, obviously. We have a private Facebook group for those people who were on weeks 1 and weeks 2 of the Ambassador event. And some things will have to stay on the private group.
Yes, like what I was doing next door.
Yes.
So Elizabeth Dunkley says she has Sugar Bag Light on her door, paint-wise.
Which one is it?
Sugar Bag Light. I haven't heard of that one.
I haven't heard of that one either. We have vintage Farrow and Ball shade cards, don't we? We just kept everything.
I don't even know if that's a joke.
Sugar bag. No, I don't know either. I'm sure Elizabeth wouldn't make fun of Farrow and Ball.
No,
absolutely not. This is a serious subject, obviously, Farrow and Ball shade card. Yes.
Jill Pennell is online. Hi, Jill.
Oh, hi, Jill. And Jill this was the very machine, Jill, you were working on with Carolyn, your lifetime friends. You and Jill, Carolyn and Jill, are quilting buddies. They did 2 quilts at a time for the Quilts for Care leavers, lengthways on here, 2 quilts at a time. Did a fantastic job on the Pro Stitcher with the Mara. By the way, I had no issue with it, by the way. We had something happen. They didn't seem to be... I just replugged it back in after you guys had gone and it's absolutely fine. Don't know what you'd done there or whoever had done it. Anybody else?
Yes, the one question has come in which I was completely anticipating from Claire Shortland. Is the square foot applicable for the sit-down machines?
Yes, it is. Although the way that we do it, I have to think about that. The way that we do it. Yeah, I'm sure it is, Claire. I'll think about whether it's any different in the way that you do it. But you can use it in lots of different ways, the square foot. Let me think about that, Claire.
So Marianne Tenkata has Farrow and Ball matchstick in her sitting room and willow in her hallway.
Oh!
Carolyn Clark's alternative colourways include... some of her favourites are Absolute Apathy and Shoplifter's Coat.
Shoplifter's Coat.
I
love it.
I don't know if some of our American viewers will understand what we're talking about.
No, they won't.
But,
they won't.
It might take too long to explain.
Yeah, probably. Now, it has got some instructions in here about tips for using the square foot. It works. Claire, here we go. Helps if you read the instructions. RTFM. Stand up works equally well for stand up and I didn't say that. A stand up and sit down long arm machines. These tips apply to both types of quilting machines. When working with rulers with a stand up machine, always use a ruler base. Apply gentle 3-point pressure to the ruler. Press the ruler against any side of the square foot or other hopping foot. It is really good for doing straight lines, the square foot. This isn't what we're demonstrating here. It's a great seam guide for cottons and low loft batting. What else? It's the 1/2-inch square foot is useful for thick fabrics, high loft batting, or multiple layers. So the overview. Square feet are designed to aid in achieving straight seams while piecing on your quilting frame. So one of the ways that I've used the square feet is when we're doing quilt as you go, so we can actually use it to do like a flip and sew method. In fact, this is quite a good way of sort of showing you. If we want to do flip and sew, you can actually literally put your next piece on here and then stitch along and then flip it. Oh, you stitch along and then open it up. And then you've got your next piece. You can lay that on top, stitch along, and then flip it over. I did that for Emily, didn't I?
You did.
Granddaughter. If you've got the Handi feet mount, it works with the interchangeable feet. And if you've got an older machine, you can convert it. That's about everything, I think, that you need to know. And I'm going to do the live demo.
Vendulke's online this morning. Morning, Vendulke. I hope you had a good show at Duxford last weekend.
Oh, yes. Yeah. And the to-do is the blog post I will do on... Now, this is a really good thing to mention at this point. We were absolutely delighted, weren't we, Pete? For those of you who went to Festival of Quilts, and even if you didn't, if you saw, you'll have seen the write-ups and everything about the person who won, the people who won, Vendulke and Olivier Bataille.
Bataille, probably a silent S, I think.
Bataille, because French. And Vendulke is Czech. They ran a shop called Oliven in Suffolk, and they won the jointly made the winning quilt, the Handi Quilter Best in Show at Festival of Quilts 2021. Now, through various things, I got to meet Vendulke and Olivier. Firstly, on the stage at the awards ceremony, which is amazing, at Festival of Quilts, and subsequently they went ahead with the purchase of an Amara. So we were absolutely delighted, and Pete went and did the installation 2 weeks ago. So it's in the shop. And Pete, do you want to explain a bit more, because you did the installation?
Yeah, so it's taking up quite a bit of space. There's still room to get around and buy fabric, which is good. And it doesn't,
purpose of a patchwork shop.
It doesn't impose on Vendulke's teaching area, which is in a separate room at the back, and big room with lots of teaching space. Yeah, it's great. Vendulke is a complete natural with the long arm, as it seems is her son, Balthazar, who is, I think, only 7.
He's only 7.
Absolutely loves it.
He stands on a stool, on a step stool.
Yes. So
yeah,
we're looking forward to seeing what comes off that frame from both of you.
Absolutely. No, congratulations, Vendulke and Olivier. And Balthazar, who was dying to come home from school, apparently, couldn't wait to get on it. And I saw a lovely video that you posted of him showing a couple of the younger visitors to your shop, a couple of girls. Gosh, what a way to attract the girls. Showing them how to use the long arm. Fantastic. So really impressive. And I'm delighted that you went with the Amara. It's a beautiful machine. And I think, you know, if you're going to make the most of the skills that you've got there, then the balance and the facilities that you've got with the Amara in terms of the handles and the way that we can use the Amara, yeah, as Pete said, we can't wait to see what you do with it. Yeah.
So we're going to be doing a blog post anyway, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. We just, with the Quilts for Care Leavers and also the Ambassador event, unfortunately I just haven't had a chance to do that. In fact, my blog post that I've just posted is the blog post I intended to do about 5 weeks ago. I finally finished it. It's a technical blog post, and there's a link to it from the email newsletter I sent out at 2 minutes to 11, which is all about shredding and all the issues that you might have from time to time that can happen as a result perhaps of a poor needle. It can happen if you haven't got the needle in straight. It can happen if you've got other issues. A lot of information in there. It's quite a technical blog post, but I think, you know, education is a really important thing to understand how the stitch is formed and to understand more about needles, the different type of needles, what application, you know, the right needle for the right purpose is also very important. This is all about needles for Handi quilters. So, you know, if you've got another brand and you're watching this video, might not apply to you. I only know about the Handi quilter machines, and that's the proviso. This is information that is copyright because it's provided by one of the technical engineers from Handi Quilter. I took a lot of information from both Glenn Salter, Handi Quilter, he used to be head of technical support at Handi Quilter, but also from the Grace Beckett MR Needles information. So some of the pictures are from that. I gleaned it from various places and also from my own knowledge. You'll see there's sort of like little bits in there that I've got from my own technical knowledge. Most of it is from those bits and pieces that I've acquired over the years. So I hope you find it really useful. If you've got any input, perhaps if you are, one of our service engineers who might read it and you have anything to add, I will probably put in some additional pictures because I feel like it's missing some of the pictures. I just didn't have time to put in some of my service information pictures that will add some information there that I think will help you in your understanding. So that blog post will probably expand. Anyway, I hope you find it useful. And there is also, for those people who perhaps live on some of the islands that can't get their machine back to us for retiming it, we sometimes do sell the timing kit. It comes with a CD. In fact, one of our customers who came and brought her machine for some work, who came from the far west coast of Ireland, she has a timing kit and it comes with a DVD and you can watch it and actually understand how to retime the machine. If you're for a long way away and you perhaps run quilting as a business, that can be a very important thing. It saves you having downtime. Okay, so that's the blog post. What else? Square foot. Lynda Jackson. Oh, and thank you very much, Pauline. Pauline does our mail order. And because Abigail wasn't available this week, because it's half term, and she's just moved house, so she'd got a lot of work to do on the house. It sounds like it turned out to be a bigger project than she expected. You take back the carpets and you suddenly discovered that there's more there. So Abigail couldn't do this week. So Pauline, who is an Amara owner, but she's been doing our mail order for a little while now. So she's familiar with the products, but she's a user in terms, that sounds terrible. She's an Amara owner. She's not a drone. I don't know whether she's anyway. She helped us this last week. She cut all the fabric, she loaded the machines with us, and Carolyn was here as well helping us load the machines last Friday, was it? Yeah, last Friday. And it's been an amazing week, and I just really want to say thank you, Pauline, because you were an absolute star. You just coped with everything we threw at you, and we really appreciate your support here at Pinhole Quilting. So thank you. The thing we're going to do now is a square foot. This afternoon I've got to do an insight installation. And Pete, we've got a busy week coming up, haven't we?
You say that every week, Liz, because it's true every week. Yes.
They just seem to get busier.
You have.
We just got notification that our large Handi Quilter delivery is coming in.
Our largest ever Handi Quilter delivery.
Our largest ever. Deliveries these days by ocean have been fraught with the fact that big containers are never in the right place. And everybody's been hearing on the news about, Felixstowe's a problem and they're having to go to Liverpool and stuff. Well, we just fly the stuff in. But this time, the shipping people at Handi Quilter, the guy who's in charge of the shipping, he just said, you might want to consider ocean next time. Because, if you're going to continue at this rate, you need to consider ocean. Well, we don't know whether it's 11 or 12 pallets, but we've got quite a lot of machines coming. So 11 or 12 are coming on Tuesday. So Pete, you don't need to go to the gym anymore. He never goes to the gym anyway. We don't need to, do we?
No.
Because we normally walk about 8 miles around the showroom every day, and we don't need to do any other exercise. So we're reorganizing our warehouse with lots of racking, aren't we? I say we, you. And we just about got enough room. What do you think? We've got enough room?
Just about.
Well, anyway, all the ones that are in there at the moment pretty much are sold. And the ones that are coming in, lots of those are sold. So
yes, if you're one of those people who's been waiting to hear from me when your machine is arriving, well, it should be arriving this week.
So that's good, isn't it? Yes. And we're pretty excited about how many machines are coming through and going out again. And it's great. It's absolutely great. But so anyway, more news on that. We'll be announcing more news about what's happening in Pinhole Quilting and any changes that we'll be bringing about in our organisation and all the things that we're planning for 2022 as and when they're definite. Pete and I are looking at a different venue. We didn't work out for the first venue we looked at. We're looking at a different venue next week that's close to International Airport.
For Academy
2022. And Lynda and Pete and I have had some good discussions about who might be coming. just to know, let you know that we are progressing all of these things. Onward and upward. Live demo. Square feet. So the square feet comes in a pack with 2 feet. They don't come with this jazzy little yellow and green stickers. That just tells me that these are demos. So there's a smaller one, which is 1/4 inch, and there's a bigger one, which is the 1/2 inch seam. So there you go. 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch. Big hole in the middle where the needle goes up and down. So from the center outward, it's 1/2 inch, and center outward, it's 1/4 inch. And this nice flat edge here on both of these feet is really good for running up and down with your straight rulers. So if you do want to do stitching in the ditch, you don't have to use your sure foot. Sorry, your sure foot. It's sure foot, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, your sure foot. You can use the square foot instead. And whereas the sure foot is obviously deep, like these are, it's rounded, whereas this has got a nice flat edge, and it does help, particularly with the puffy, if you're using like a double layer of wadding or batting, as Americans call it, called Canadians. I don't know what the Australians call it. Then this deeper foot and the bigger foot of the 1/2 inch helps because it eases that, a bit like the glide foot, it's got a nice sort of deep and longer edge. So when you're using that puffy wadding, it doesn't, the smaller one will dig in more. Okay, so that's what you get in the pack. You get 2 feet, and I've put the 1/4 inch foot on to do the binding on this. Now this piece isn't finished, but that doesn't matter. For the purposes of the demonstration, I'm putting a green binding on, and I will be removing that because I don't want a green binding on. I've cut, and we're going to just mention a debate we had at the dinner table last night, because we did talk a little bit about quilting. When you're doing your binding for your quilting, do you cut 2.5, 2.25, or 2 inch strips? Well, my point is, it depends on how thick your wadding is. Now, traditionally, people would cut 2.5, but if you cut 2.5, you'll probably find it's not evenly balanced front to back. So some people cut 2.25, and if you really want it to be quite tight and very balanced, you might cut 2. Talking to Carol Watson, that's Carol Watson 2, who might be watching this on catch up because she'll be with her niece, won't she, today? Yeah. So she might be watching it now. Hi, Carol. And thank you very much for the quilts, loan of the quilts. What Carol said is that she does use 2.25, and occasionally she used 2. So, I've cut 2.25. Thanks, Carol, because I thought of you when I was cutting that. And I've just folded it in 2 and pressed it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do the demonstration. You leave a long end, and a number of people do the technique, as I do as well, where you kind of use this technique where you use the width of the binding to calculate that the end is not, you don't fold it in and do that thing where you sort of do the 45 degrees and all that kind of stuff. There's a technique. Missouri Star has the videos. I know the American Quilting Society have got a video, which is the one I tend to watch, but it's the same technique where you actually get it so that it fits perfectly and you can't really see where your start and end is. It's much nicer. In terms of positioning of the start and end, think about whether it's going to be used on a bed, whether it's hanging on a wall, where is it going? Where do people notice? If it's hanging on a wall, if say it's one of these quilts, when the viewer's watching it, you probably don't want it therefore at the viewer's eye line towards the bottom. You might want it towards the top left or top right, okay, so that you don't see it from the bottom. So if you're doing say an exhibition quilt, I don't know if anybody else has any comments on this, but if you're doing an exhibition quilt and it's hanging, don't have it where the judge is going to see it. Yeah, have it where they won't notice it towards the top. Put the join up towards the top. If it's going to be on a bed, have it again somewhere where it's not going to be seen so obviously. I haven't done a join on this, but obviously if I was going to do it all the way around, I'd have done my 45 degree mitered joins, my 45 degree joins. So I leave my long tail, and I've simulated this as the edge of my quilt top. So this is my border effectively. This would be the edge of your quilt top. I would then have my wadding and my backing beyond this. So you just have to imagine this is my wadding and backing. So this is where I want to start my binding. So I would lay this up against the edge, like so. And what I'm going to do, I want to miter the corners, and I will be doing it so that this will be, think about this, when you do it off the frame, and I'm just going to simulate, like if I'm going to lay it flat like this, obviously it'll be 1/4 inch in, so I've got to actually lay it and eyeball that 1/4 inch here, okay? So it'll be like this, and lay it on like this. And when I come to do the corners, I'm going to show you first. I will want to do it like that and come back down like that. Okay, because that gives me, and finger pressing, I'll have the ruler base so it won't be like a trampoline. That will give me, I don't know whether you can see there, that crease. There is my 45, okay? I remember when we talked about this before on I think it was one of the classrooms with Abigail when we were doing the virtual classrooms, and when somebody trimmed this, what they did was they trimmed it, and they forgot, or they didn't realize when they trimmed it on the rotary cutting mat, and they trimmed it and they left this little bit here to be cut off. Disaster. That is really important. You have a hole if you trim that bit off. So when you trim this eventually, do not leave that so that it's actually at a 45 degree. Move it to one side and trim, and then move it to the other side and trim. Otherwise you get a hole and you'll really be unhappy. Okay, so just once again, I'm going to lay it on top of here and give myself the 1/4 inch seam using my foot as the guide. So put your machine under here. Okay, here's my 1/4 inch.
So Marianne says, in terms of the join, that somebody's eye is always drawn to the top right when looking at a rectangle, whether it's on a printed page or on a wall. So in her opinion, the lower to middle left is a good choice. Yeah, exactly. So in advertising, your prominent place for the best position for advertising is bottom right. So converse would be the left. Yeah, that's the worst place for advertising, for editorials and things. Yeah, so here we go. This is there's my needle, and actually that's interesting. You know, we've got a needle laser. Mm-hmm. Because of the perspex, it doesn't actually help me on this one. No. I would turn it off. So we can turn that off on the Amara.
So needle laser is that one.
Yeah.
There we go. Back to home. Because it's not actually helping. So, I mean, almost better just to kind of come along here, lay that edge level with that, and just check. There. Yeah. So I'm pretty much on there. And then you can just lay that like that. So when we sew this seam here, I'm laying that edge against the back of the fabric, and I'm checking that needle is in my edge of my fabric. Yeah? Actually, it won't be like that, will it? No, this will be the edge of my. Sorry, because I haven't got fabric. I've got it in the wrong place.
It's the wrong way around.
It's not the wrong way around, but that's the edge of my fabric. Okay. I want it to be the edge of my quilt. I need to be 1/4 inch in. It's confusing me because it's not. It's actually not.
You've got that folded, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The fold is there, and then this is the raw edge.
Yeah.
So this stitch line. Sorry, people, because it's not like a proper quilt. This stitch line is actually a raw edge. I'm going to write it on in case when people play this back, they're just so confused by my... Let's just write this on. I'm going to draw some things on here. This is wadding. Batting. Because it's I had to just pick something that looked quite nice. And backing. And this stitch line is actually raw edge. Okay, so we need to stitch 1/4 of an inch in. So we line up this is easier. If I'd actually used a quilt rather than this sample, would have been a lot easier. As everybody knows, we prepare this hours and days in advance.
Except we were partying last night, so we couldn't.
Yeah. We had so much fun last night, didn't we? And it's lovely because we have the show and tell of everybody's whole cloth, and I'll be posting some of the photos of, well, all the photos of people's whole cloths, and then you'll be able to see how incredible they were. Right, so that goes like that. All right, so this now runs along the edge. How much easier. So needle down, needle up, bring up your bobbin thread. There is a bobbin in there, isn't there, Pete?
There is, but you'd already done the needle up, needle down once, I think, so.
Just check. I didn't feel right. Let me just check it. No, it's not right. I just got a bit stuck. Okay, so I'm just going to check because we didn't do any stitch on here. Feels right. Put that back in there. You're going to love this. For quick quilts, this is the bees. Feels okay. Right, stitch length, bearing in mind that somebody else has been using this. But Pam, I know that you'll have used this in an absolutely fine way. So there we go, that's pulled up fine. So pull up your bobbin thread, come back, go down. Let me just check that's set to, it's not set to tile, so that's something to change. Needle up, needle down. Just change it to the settings that I like. Okay. Doesn't sound right, does it? Okay, that is okay. And I'm going to go along here like this. Now I could use a ruler, but I'm just going to use it without the ruler. And I'm going to stop when the edge of this is level. Edge, yep, there.
The foot.
Like that.
Is in line with the right hand raw edge.
Exactement. See that? Level with that. Then I can go back, or I can do the tie off stitch like that. Needle up, pull towards me, go away, come back, needle down, needle up, get my scissors. On the magnetic Amara collar, like that. Now fold it at a 45-degree finger press, or use your nail. Finger press or use your nail. You can get like a little ruler, roller thing. And then come back over the top. This lifts up, this foot lifts up. So now you can line it up bang in the corner, or you can go slightly south of it just to pick up the needle. Needle up, needle down, bring up the thread to begin with. Just lift that foot a bit. If it's a bit puffy, the wadding's a bit puffy, you might just want to do that. Needle down, like that. Needle up, needle down. So now I'm just checking how far I am from the edge. I want to do a tie off like that. I want to go back until I'm sure I've really, I can see, I'm just going to draw for you. I can feel, here's my mitre, okay, and I can see I'm not quite, oh, I might have caught that a bit too much. There, happy with that now, and now I can bring towards me. Oh, went off there. Problem with live demos. And so you continue. And Pete's in my way, so I can't actually stand in the right place. Okay, I wasn't standing in front of it, so it was really hard to do that. I wobbled. So now I'm standing in front of it. It's going to be a lot easier to pull it towards me. If you've got a channel lock, you've got Pro Stitcher, let me just show you.
Or an electromagnetic.
Or an electromagnetic. Put my gears on. I've got a vertical channel lock. Watch what happens now. Whoa, straight line. How cool is that? Straight line, no wobble. No wobble at all. You don't even really need a square foot. But the square foot, if you don't have either of those things, is going to be very, very useful. There's a massive wobble. I think I would be unpicking that bit. There we go. So let's just have a look. There is my, if I just, and there is my mitre. Just up this needle, hang on. Take that vertical off. Take off the gears. It's going to come to one side so we can just have a good look. I've left the scissors there. Let's just take this aside. Here we go. And there is my mitered corner.
Very nice.
Nice. So when you've finished, and you've unpicked that little bit that you did a bit skewy, you then just got to turn it to the back, and you can machine stitch. Obviously, you could machine stitch that if you wished, or hand turn it on the back. Nice, nice finish. All done on the frame, and you could do your measuring thing, but you'd need to do that off the frame, using your width. There we go. Now, the special deal that we've got is 15% off, which is going to come live on our website at bang on 12 noon today. That's in 12 minutes time. I've set it up already. How organized am I? That's why it was one of the reasons I was late. And that will be 15% off. Add it to your shopping basket. When you add it to your shopping basket, you'll see it on the checkout pages. 15% off the normal price of, Pete?
£60.
Off £60. There you go. That is the deal for this week. It's valid until 12 noon next week. So you have a whole week to think about it.
While stocks last.
While stocks last. Oh yeah, while stocks last. It's a great little tool, and as I said before, great for doing straight line quilting as well. Without straight line roots, you're going to find that a really nice foot as an alternative, particularly with the half-inch if you're using very thick wadding. Have we got a straight line ruler? Let me just nip in. Straight line ruler. Don't go anywhere. Here we go. Here's a 3x12. See, look at that. You don't wobble anywhere.
So this is where it's useful on a sit-down machine as well.
Yes, totally.
Liz, have you disconnected your mic?
No. Yes.
Sound has gone. Are you back?
Can you hear me now? Sorry.
Yes, she managed to unplug herself.
Wow! When did I do that? How long have you not been hearing me? That's terrible. Sorry. Okay, can everybody hear me now?
Just waiting for confirmation that people can hear.
Can you hear me now? Was it when I moved away?
I think it must have been.
Not the whole of the demo.
No. Just, I think as you went to get the straight line ruler.
Ah, yeah, it was just the back. There we go.
Yeah, it was only a few seconds you were offline, Liz, so that's fine.
That is a relief.
They were, our customers, very quick at telling us.
There we go. You see? Look at that.
Good. Thank you, everybody, for confirming. We're back up and running again.
Yeah. So obviously you can't do it when it's around the back, but you can do it on the other 3 sides. Nice. And that other technique, I definitely think that's going to be one for a future Facebook Live, is doing the strips. And what I did with the one when I did the one for Emily, was I pre-pieced randomly the strips first to kind of create a really nice random foundation piecing. So I ended up with like a bit of blue, a bit of cream, a bit of green, and then laid the strips on top of backing and wadding, and then just did strip after strip. Very quick quilt. Needed to be, because, you know, my amount of time I have available is so limited. That is it, I think, Peter. We're there. How good is that?
Very good. And you're off to Gloucester?
I'm off to Gloucester to do an insight table installation.
Lots of puddles around, isn't there? There's Dr. Gloucester.
Foster. Dr. Foster at Gloucester.
Went to Gloucester.
In the pouring rain.
In a shower of rain.
In the shower. In the pouring rain.
In the pouring rain, yes. He steps in a puddle.
And
right up to his middle.
Up to his middle.
And never went there again.
And never went there again. Let's hope I've got my 4-wheel drive. It's okay. I'll be all right. There we go, people. And if that was one for the Americans, that you might not know about, Dr. Foster went to Gloucester in the pouring rain. We won't be going through the ford today either, because it's been raining like Billy-o. I think that's everything for this weekend. Next weekend we will be back telling you about some other fabulous thing. We might still be recovering from moving around 12 pallets worth of Handi Quilter Mars and studio frames and Moxies and everything else. And we have an exciting day on Wednesday, haven't we, Pete? But we'll talk about that perhaps maybe after then.
Yeah.
And nothing else to report. I think we're there. So have a fabulous weekend. Hope whatever you do, you stay dry and you enjoy your quilting. And we hope that you enjoyed the live demonstration here on the Amara with the square foot, and that if you don't have a square foot, that you take advantage of our 15% off while stocks last. Have a wonderful quilting week, and we'll catch you later. Bye-bye now.